Shocking news today, actually, that this may soon be a sound of the past. Now, instead of high-performance patrol cars, West Midlands police are responding to budget cuts by sometimes using family runarounds that don't have sirens. So, little 1.3 little scooter round. Do you think this is a good idea to save money? I can't imagine them racing to the scene of a crime.
No, I heard it on the
siren.
radio this morning, and they were sort of suggesting how much it might cost to put one of these lights on a vehicle. But how about just switching the car out that's going to be stuck in traffic if you can't have the rules of a policeman to kind of run the red lights, and just have motorbikes? You know, in America they have them everywhere, like the old-fashioned chips with the leather outfits. They look pretty cool as well. And then they can zip in and out of the traffic really easily without having to do the sort of speeding, and they can have the lights, and they're cheaper than a vehicle, I would imagine. You know, I'm surely there must be other ways, because how are we going to fight crime queuing up in London's traffic or anywhere else in England?
I suppose a lot of time you've got to have two officers attending, haven't you? So maybe a bike.
Well, call me an old cynic. But isn't this just part of the police strategy to complain at every opportunity about the government's proposed cuts to their budget? So every week we get a new example of, oh, we can't afford to do this, we can't afford to do that. Last week, week before, Merseyside police said, oh, well, we're going to ignore crimes that are not in the public interest. And another police force said, well, if you've been burgled, you've got to email in the details.
And even though your computer might have been stolen.
Exactly. Well, good point. Very good point. I mean, and I just regard this as yet another bit of PR and the. You know, the police are going to have their budgets cut and some things will have to go, but this is just another thing. Oh, we're going to not have sirens. I mean, exactly.
Well, they do say, actually, 2,500 West Midland police officers and civilian staff are set to be axed in the next 4 years.
They can axe all the people that put out their Twitter feeds for a start.
Oh, yeah, well, they do have Twitter, don't they? Which you do kind of think, why would you need to be tweeting the general public, letting you know what you're doing?
I would just like to know more what's going on. You know, I mean, where are the cuts going? Why are they being given? And if they are going to not have sirens and maybe even not have cars, how the hell are people going to get out of the way when they know there's a crime being committed? I mean, there'll be mayhem.
Well, they are saying, actually, West Midlands Police say that the cars that we're talking about, this kind of family runarounds, were provided only for local neighbourhood teams, so conducting patrols, going to appointments with victims of crime. So they actually were never intended for response work. So
right.
if it's a
But where's
response...
the money gone? Where's all the money gone? They're saying they're cutting the... But where's that money gone? I mean, they're going to be saying to us, you know, do we want to contribute, you know, so that we can help towards, you know, the police getting better cars, getting their sirens?
Oh, you would, you? I mean, there are
Where's the
people
money
now
gone?
that do this crowdfunding, I think
Well,
they call it,
exactly.
isn't it?
So
Would
why
you be
don't
prepared?
we, if the police in our area aren't performing the way we want, why don't we all, you know, get together and sponsor a police car or sponsor a police officer? So I live in central London. There's nothing I'd like more than sponsoring a bobby.
Yes.
Janet's bobby. He's just looking after me and any, you know, anything that might happen within 100 yards of my property.
You're like a bodyguard, really.
Yeah.
So Janet bodyguard.
No, but I do think, on a more serious note, we could crowdfund aspects of the police force, and they could be outsourced, and they could raise funds in all sorts of different ways.
The only thing with crowdfunding, it would be kind of a bit ghetto-ish, wouldn't it? Because
Well,
you'd have
would you mind
areas
if
where
that
people
police
have
car-
money
Okay.
that can help fund something, and areas where people don't have any spare cash.
But
and they
Ruth, what
couldn't do
about
that.
if that car was sponsored by a bingo company or the local supermarket? Would you really object if it had Waitrose down the side, or, you know, John Lewis?
But I think a lot of people...
It's hard to take it seriously, isn't it? You see Waitrose going past the sign going...
Emergency shopping list.
Emergency wine delivery for Rieslingsford.
For the police force.
I don't think I would like to see sponsored police cars. I mean, you just go, well, we pay our taxes, and I think a lot of people policing the country and fighting crime is at the top of most people's lists. So I go, I don't think my taxes should be paying for that. I shouldn't need to be crowdfunding it. There are other things in your local area that you might want to help with, but policing, I think, should be taken from the tax that we're already paying.
On a more serious note, I just think the police is overburdened at the top level. They've got too many people in charge, and the people at the bottom work very, very hard. And I wouldn't say a word against them. So there are too many commanders, There's too many forces. They should amalgamate and reduce, you know, the highly paid people at the top.
I think the community should come together more, like with the Neighbourhood Watch and that other group that went around with the red berets that should, you know, maybe have neighbourhood sort of meetings once a month to discuss the problems, and then have one of the local chiefs from police come and let other people have a word and maybe a little hand in just local, smaller crime. And especially with everybody with their phones now, we can record things and send them to the police without the police having to attend every single scene.
We have a Neighbourhood Watch, you know, in our area, and it is good. It is good to know that there's a car going around, so if you were in trouble and you pressed your alarm and the police maybe didn't come because they couldn't get the car, they couldn't get the siren, whatever, but at least the Neighbourhood Watch is local and they will come immediately.